that's you right now, because right now you're asleep, and it's time to wake up, all right? We're going to be watching this video called Don't Sleep on EMIYA, and from the thumbnail, they're obviously talking about Archer, because why would you even talk about Shiro? Don't sleep on Shiro. I mean, Shiro's plenty strong, don't get me wrong, but obviously we're talking about Archer. So, yeah, I guess this dude is going to eloquently relay to us why this dude is strong as hell, which you didn't need to tell me that. I already knew that, but we're going to get into the nitty-gritty and the nuances about it, so let's go.
Throughout my years of being in the fake community, I've seen
I have to watch it. No spoilers.
This servant can take on that servant can take on
all right, please move on to another scene.
And for the most part, these often turn into some real heated debates. I've seen it happen on the forums. I've seen it in the comments.
Heated debates with Fate fans? I've never seen it.
Section of other videos and a couple of mine as well. And while I do think that this is an interesting conversation, very rarely do I see people talk about this in an actual video. So today we're going to do just that. We're going to talk about EMIYA, who is an OG servant back from 2004, and we're going to see how well he stacks up to all the new servants after all this time.
Ooh, that's cool. That's going to be a fun discussion.
One thing that you'll come to realize once
okay, they gotta stop showing Apocrypha, bro. I'm watching the show right now, dude.
Seeing a good amount of Fate is that somewhere down the line, traditional ranks become a bit of a side factor in the grand scheme of things. EMIYA is a servant who is credited for having just average speed, which is C rank. Yet, you take a look at the UB-Dub route, and you see him hanging with Sasuke Kojiro.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even pay attention to letters. And apparently Ufotable doesn't pay attention to letters either, because look at this. What does Sasuke Kojiro have? S tier speed?
At close range, despite Sasuke being described to be a master swordsman with A+ agility.
A+, close enough.
Several times that this happens to occur throughout the franchise.
I feel like if we're talking about like lore accurate wise, then obviously UBW exaggerated certain parts, but you know, it's for the spectacle, right? It's for the aesthetic.
My brain over it. You come to realize what really matters is circumstance and the abilities.
Yeah.
Say that you're a servant that has A rank strength. Sure, you may be defined to be the strongest, but if you don't have access to that power, then it becomes virtually useless. On a common note, you may be credited as someone who is a faster servant, but if you're placed in a situation like EMIYA, where you're being petrified by Medusa, and you don't have the parameters to cancel it out, then how much does that speed really matter?
So basically, base stats are important, but what's more important are the abilities and noble phantasms. Makes sense.
What separates EMIYA from the very beginning is that he is only a man, and he's being thrown into the belly of the beast. Look at the servants from Fate Stay Night. All of his contemporaries are pretty much gods.
Yep.
Ku's a god, Medusa's a god, Gil's a god, Hurt. And here you have little old EMIYA, who was somewhat of a normal man, turned counter guardian, holding his own against these deities, if not showing them up majority of the time. At the beginning of the novel, we were able to witness.
Yeah, bro came from the mud, dude. He came from the mud. And Shiro, like, he doesn't even come from a prestigious magic lineage or prestigious magic family. He got nothing, dude, and he became this badass. Come on.
A hint of this.
Y'all gotta put respect on him. Okay.
Ku. Now, once we get further into the story, we find out that Ku's overall prowess was being restricted by a command seal during this fight. But despite that being said, Lancer was still faster than EMIYA the first time around. And regardless of this being the case, EMIYA was still able to respond to his attacks by projecting weapon upon weapon at a moment's notice.
I wonder if he could also project that.
They're having them break several times in a row. It's almost
that staff,
the way that he fights,
or that spear,
is a callback to his own training when he was Shiro, where he practiced magecraft on a day-to-day basis to the brink of death. This self-induced mental strife is the same sort of thing that would later prepare him for these gut-reacting situations. The novel tells us that Ku also threw over 100 blows and EMIYA lost a sword every single time. That's over 100 spawns in just a short period of time. Ku himself said, "Aight bruh, I know for a fact that I've disarmed you at least 27 times." And EMIYA mocks him for this as if to say that he spawned so many weapons that Ku can't even keep up with the actual count. By the time that the second fight rolls around, Lancer is no longer being held back by the command spell, which means that he can now go all out against EMIYA with his full power. This is when we discover one of EMIYA's true shortcomings, speed. Now, he's not necessarily
he did get speed blitzed a bit. It wasn't very often, but he did get speed blitzed.
Slow by any means.
And I will say, UBW, the way they portrayed the battles, it looked like their agilities were relatively neck and neck.
When it comes to speed,
which on paper it definitely isn't.
Not the fastest servant around. When Lancer was able to finally stop holding back, EMIYA himself admitted that he couldn't even recognize what was going on because the attacks were coming out that fast. At this point, he was forced to use his experience from the first fight combined with one of his skills, Eye of the Mind.
Mind's eye. All right. See, this is great. I love watching this video because we're getting some real, like, concrete analysis on people's powers and abilities. A combat logic that allows for calm analysis of the situation and the enemy's ability in spite of danger and consideration of all possible actions. Okay. If there's even a 1% chance of a comeback, this ability greatly improves the chance of success. So he basically has the ability to lock in. Okay.
When it comes to Sasaki, Hurt, and Ku, all of these servants are top tier in agility. Don't get it twisted. The only reason EMIYA is hanging with these servants in speed is because Eye of the Mind is telling him the best course of action. But that's the cool thing about it. He can use his mind's eye to make up the difference for not.
I wonder if he got that because, or maybe because the Grail like gave it to him, or if he earned that of his own volition because, you know, he was a counter guardian. He trained, he practiced like day and night. So I wonder if he got that because of his training and because of the results of his practice, or again, he got it from the Holy Grail.
Having their speed, thus being able to at least stand his ground against faster servants when another person couldn't, if nothing else. We then see him use Roias to block the Gayball, Ku's strongest attack.
The instant kill weapon that doesn't instant kill.
This is a nod to his durability. This is an attack that honestly shouldn't be blocked at all. Being reduced.
Just if you read the description of Gayball, then you would realize that defending it doesn't even make sense to begin with, conceptually wise. Because when he throws the thing, you're already struck. Like it doesn't. The throwing doesn't even like attribute to it. The throwing is irrelevant. As soon as he says it, you're pierced
to nothing in return of EMIYA spending majority of his energy. Then of course he turned around, clashed with Saber, and casted his reality marble at a point where you would assume that he had nothing left.
Yeah, bro was kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. He didn't have a whole. The odds were stacked against him in Stay Night when you look at the numbers.
Archery. Although EMIYA says that he only has one trick up his sleeve, he in fact has access to both sword and bow skills at will, putting him ahead of a lot of servants right off the bat. One of his greatest feats, and one that I feel like needs to be reanimated, is him getting his shine on in the Fatal.
Oh, there's a lot of things I would like to be reanimated.
Route when he defeated Heracles 6 times in a row.
Huh? Okay, we might need to watch Studio Dean. Hold on.
Yes, Heracles, a top tier servant, one of the fastest servants in the franchise, and in that class specifically, he is adept at close range combat.
And he beat him.
Now, in the novel, it tells us that this fight was undescribed. We don't really know how he pulled it off. All we know is that he did. The Dean adaptation, however, gives us an idea of how the fight may have went down. For starters, we see EMIYA using his bow. That's right, even in an enclosed area, this man was still giving Herc noble phantasms to the face with his bow. Granted, Herc was tanking those phantasms, but the idea is that he's an archer and he started at a disadvantage and he's still holding his own. Now, as you guys know, Herc has the noble phantasm God Hand, which means that this dude can't even be harmed unless it's coming from an A-rank phantasm. This
Wonderful.
makes his fight with Herc even more impressive because he's only able to do damage with A-rank phantasms, which means that he would be consuming the largest amount of energy possible through the entire fight. And
I think in terms of matchups too, because matchups is also very important when it comes to servants fighting each other. I think Berserker might be one of EMIYA's worst matchups.
Was still,
correct me if I'm wrong,
able to do his thing. Next, we see him trying to take some of Herc's lives with Khonsho and Byakuya. Going back to Herc's God Hand, EMIYA's Khonsho and Byakuya were only C rank, so by normal standards, they wouldn't even be effective.
Yeah, they shouldn't touch him.
On the flip side, when they're wielded together, their parameters get an increase and they gain anti-physical powers. He can also reinforce them to further provide himself.
This dude got wings!
Over edge counterpart. At that point, taking lives from Herc with these babies sounds a lot more believable.
Okay.
And lastly, of course, he goes out with the bang.
This dude I feel like most of this dude's fights are scrapping, or him scrapping and locking in. But the fact that he looks calm, calm and collected through all of it.
Reality marble.
It makes it look even. Makes the fights look even.
EMIYA was so shocked by Archer's strength that she could only assume that Heracles had to be holding back. Heracles can't even talk, but the narration implied that
Heracles like
he also was impressed by Archer's skills and really wished that he could have fought him under a
the more I learn about Archer's skill set in comparison to all the other Fate Stay Night servants, the more he's like Batman to me. The more he's like Batman and everyone else is like gods in the Justice League, and then there's Batman.
Ku mentioned the same thing during their battle. Just like his sword skills, EMIYA's archery skills are nothing to just brush off. He's shown the ability to seamlessly switch from sword to bow.
Again, training, dog.
At the last minute. Shiro has described EMIYA's shots from his bow to look like they will be strong enough to mow down an entire house. Now, when you hear this, your first thought is that, oh, they're just trying to gas it up to make it sound cooler. But when you take a look at EMIYA's fight against Ku in Grand Order, and you
Grand Order? Okay, we need to watch Grand Order. Eventually.
The actual dimensions of one of his shots from Ku's perspective, that kind of looks like it might take down a house or two. Might tear the whole...
What are you talking about? Might take down a country. Are you with that?
block up on a good day.
I've heard the power scaling for Fate is crazy.
So we have to take this literal. Hollow Ataraxia also gives us a more detailed look at his skills. In his fight against Saber, it was stated that the distance between them was at least 4,000 meters. EMIYA's final shot was said to be delivered in an instant. Of course, the game had to slow it down to make it discernible to the reader, but by the way that it was laid out, the narration suggested that the shot was instantaneous.
Oh wow.
Mach speed on
instantaneous, huh?
Average comes in at about 343 meters per second.
But 4,000 meters per second, that's like what, at least over Mach 10?
If we divide Mach speed into 4,000,
but it was instantaneous, so it's even faster than a second.
This would mean that EMIYA's shot is hitting for at least
that's
Mach
that's like such a low ball.
To further put this into perspective, the average bullet is only 1,800 miles per hour, which means that he's literally covering a range of 2.5 miles at 5 times the speed of a bullet in a second. And once he packs his
He's a man, by the way. Just a regular human.
shots
Not a regular human, obviously, but like just a human. And he can do that. Come on, bro.
with magical energy,
That's what happens when you go to the gym.
these bullets practically become missiles.
I'm just kidding.
Insane. Another example of this is when Ren asked Archer for his help when they were fighting against Berserker. No different from
Yeah, that's why I kept saying, like, why was he so far away? But now knowing how fast his arrows are, he might as well be up close. He might as well be right next to you when he shoots. It's the same thing.
Ataraxia. Archer let go of his shot at the duration of 6:18.
Okay.
We saw a flash in the sky to let us know that it was coming at 6:19, and it came into contact with Berserker at 6:20.
Yes.
This is how fast this man is actually shooting. Mind you that the distance here is longer than it was before. As we saw in the UB-Dub route when Shuro took Archer's skills, EMIYA can also hard counter projectiles with his reality marble as long as he has access to the resources, meaning that he's bound to give a lot of range-based characters that work. Not saying that he would be invincible or anything like that, but he's definitely not giving up any fights for free, as we saw with Heracles. Another cool thing about Kansho and Bakya is that when they're brought out together, they also give the user anti-magic attributes on top of everything else.
That's pretty cool.
It's like having magic resistance and you don't even need to have the skill. Who needs skills when you got these on you? This allows him to break out of Medea's binding spell despite being on her turf with his back against the wall.
Yep.
He was able to
Like if you look at the numbers, bro, he should have lost so easily. But when I was watching this fight, I was like, oh, Archer's gonna sweep her. EMIYA's gonna sweep her, bro. She has no chance.
dodge several of her energy beams on foot like it was nothing while carrying Shuro at the same exact time. He then throws his swords as a diversion that will give him enough time to prepare a shot with his bow. The ridiculous thing about this is that the novel tells us that he actually missed the shot. And this is just another testament to Archer's hypersonic speeds as a bowman. He didn't even hit her with his arrow, which means that the shockwave was so powerful that just being near it caused her great damage and
Oh yeah, I thought it was pretty obvious that he missed.
knocked her out of the sky.
I thought it was pretty obvious that he
This is
missed.
on top of
Even
him
in the
breaking
anime.
through her magical barrier when she tried to block it. He broke through the barrier of a magecraft specialist
Yep.
with ease. And then finally, another nod to his durability being that
How about when he survived getting pummeled by Gilgamesh's Gate of Babylon?
he survived
How about that?
several phantasms at point blank range from Gil after having his fight
Literally.
with Shuro. And then surviving this a day later,
Yeah, he survived and then he pretended to disappear. That's what
protecting
happened.
Ren and Shuro with no mana supply to boot. So, for the conclusion, in reality, Archer honestly shouldn't even be this strong. I feel like he's a little too good to be average, but the limitations of his raw power threshold him when you put him next to the other servants. He does, however, have the versatility, the tact, and the unwillingness to yield that still makes him a formidable opponent. After all of this time and with 200 servants making their way into the franchise, I gotta say that EMIYA is a B-ranked servant. And that says
I think that's perfectly valid.
a lot when you consider all the servants that he's up against. By the way, I decided to skip the scene where he survived the shadow, mostly because it was plot driven, so there wasn't really much to say there in
Hey, it looks cool. That's the most important thing.
terms of his feat.
It looks
Also,
cool.
I've heard that he has some feats in the extraverse in case you guys wanted to throw some of those in as well. Let me know what you guys think.
But okay, that's really cool, man. This is a really cool video. I'm absolutely gonna leave this link at the top of the description. Is there anything else at the end? But yeah, I mean, I'm so glad I got to watch this video. I really clarifies and puts into perspective that Yeah, the reason why he's able to do the fact that he's able to do all this to begin with is very insane. It's very insane because even just from the initial, just even from the jump, it was completely unfair for him. He was a human who, yeah, had some really, really great training with the counterforce, and he does have really good weapons. But like at the end of the day, you're fighting gods, you're fighting legends. Like the odds are so stacked against you. The fact that he even did this well to begin with is insane, and it really recontextualizes all of the fights that he's been in with the coup, like twice, not once but twice. He should have been gone from the first one, and then with that brief interaction with Saber, he should have been gone. With Berserker, he should have been gone, and they said that he beat Berserker. That's crazy, dude. That's like it's like freaking. That's like Batman being able to beat the Hulk. Like that shouldn't even be possible. But hey, I think what it really boils down to is that mind's eye thing. Basically, the ability to lock in and find the most optimal route to be able to operate at pure calm. I think that also helps a lot. It helps a lot with his fighting, and also just the weapons he has. The weapons he has is pretty damn cool. The weapon he has is pretty. Oh, also him as an archer. Him as an archer is absolutely broken, and it is really impressive that he's able to get to that caliber of an archer. And when he's like, he's not even a god, bro. He's a human with magic and he can project things. Cool. Like he doesn't have a lot of things to base off of, bro. He doesn't have a lot to work with already. So this right here is like 98%, 99% hard work, hard training, and he's able to be this nasty compared to all the other servants. This is really impressive, man. It's really impressive, man. And I think B rank is perfectly fine. I think B rank is a perfectly fine rating. It makes perfect sense to me, given what he started out with and given how much he had to do. And still be B rank. B rank is good. It's not like the Asian B rank where, oh, if you have B, you fail. No, B is good. B is good, bro. Yeah, but this is a fantastic video. I definitely gotta check out more. I saw that they did some other stuff like don't sleep on Saber, don't sleep on Ryder. I'm definitely gonna be checking all these out eventually too. So yeah, I mean these are fantastic videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'll leave a link in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next one.